So, hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Marketing from the Trenches podcast. I'm your host, Will Wang, and this is a bit of a awesome, fun episode. I've got a really good friend of mine, Stephen Esketzis, on the podcast today. And Stephen is what I'd kind of describe as a marketer's marketer, in that he understands the marketing really, really well, and he's a great marketer, really well known within the industry and community. And he's done some really amazing things in terms of taking websites or taking assets and building the SEO and the content behind these websites to get millions and millions of people onto his sites every single month. So Stephen is, for such a young guy, amazingly intelligent, amazingly talented at what he does. And some of the sites he's built, he's taken from zero or from scratch and got millions of views in less than 12 months. Taking him like 10 months, I think it was, for one of his sites to get about 3 million unique views every single month. So super impressive. We talk about a lot of things in terms of systems, how he's built his assets and his businesses via automation and having the right team members and systems in place so he can travel the world as he's doing that. The businesses and the websites continue to grow day in, day out. I think you get a lot from this episode. We dive deep into content, how he thinks about content, what his team structure is like, the systems he uses to get the content created, and as well as some of the things he's doing now in terms of events and how he's been able to sell 500 seats at an event, at a premium event, and just get it sold out within, in the first event that he's ever run. So he's an amazing marketer. I think you're going to get a lot of value from this episode and hopefully have a lot of fun as well, because we do, talk about some different things, and it is a bit of a casual episode, which is awesome. But there's so many golden nuggets in here. I think you'll really love this. So just before we get into the episode and I bring Stephen on, I also wanted to say that if you haven't done so already, head across to Growth Labs. It's growthlabz.com/resources. What you'll find is we've created a bunch of free resources to help you grow your business, get more leads, get more sales, and grow your revenue. So check out the site if you haven't already and get your free resources. At the moment, we've got a B2B lead generation checklist. There's a bunch of videos that we're going to put on there soon, some extra resources to help you with your funnels and marketing and getting more leads. So head across to that if you haven't done so already. But for now, we're going to go straight into the episode. So I hope you enjoy. Stephen Esketzis is going to go and drop some amazing value in here, and I'll see you on the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Marketing from the Trenches podcast. Pretty special episode today. I've got my homie, one of my besties, BFFs, Stephen Esketzis, on the podcast today. Stephen is just an amazing marketer. I think the way I describe him to other people, he's a marketer's marketer, in that he's not loud or obnoxious and screaming about crappy results that aren't real. Stephen is the real deal. Young guy, super jealous of him. Wish I'd known half the stuff he knows at his age. But it's really good to have him on board because Stephen is an expert content marketer. We're going to go into some of the stuff that he's doing, but he's built content sites that have got getting millions of unique views every single month. He was at one point, I think probably still up there, but worldwide top affiliate for a software piece of ClickFunnels. So you've been doing marketing for a while. You probably have heard of ClickFunnels. Stephen was like the number one affiliate in the world. And now he's running an event as well based on marketing. So done so much in terms of the marketing space and real results. Stephen, dude, awesome to have you on board.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's going to be a great episode. So let's dive straight into it. So tell me a little bit about your story, man, like how you got here, because you're super young, but you've done some amazing things in terms of marketing your own assets.
Yeah, I mean, how far back do you want to start? Do you want to talk about the very, very beginning or just like marketing world?
Let's do it, man. So,
I'll give you a short story. Yeah, I don't want to waffle on for too long, but like the quick version of it is like I finished like high school, and then after that, I knew I was going to be a business owner pretty much through high school. I had like different side projects. One of the first things I did was jump on eBay, and then I was on eBay for just hustling, making money. I was selling iPhone cases, things like that, and that was a lot of fun. I did well. One of my friends, Ricky, we actually he taught me a bit about eBay, and then I went and found and sourced my own products and started selling them. We actually ended up competing and accidentally selling the same product we didn't even know at one point. So I think like that when I was 18, 17, it got up to about $400 a day, $500 a day in revenue, which was back then I was like, balling it. I was like, this is like legit. Like, I was every single sale was like $12. My phone was dinging off every 10 seconds. I was selling these Despicable Me iPhone cases. I literally, so I'll give you, it's pretty funny. Like I literally went to China, like I didn't go to China, but I emailed China and then I sent them a message. I'm like, all right, so there's this movie Despicable Me coming out soon. And I knew the first one was a big hit, so the second one was going to do well. I was like, I went to Google Images, found some posters, super copyright infringement. Like, don't do this because it's illegal. But at the time, I didn't know any better. And then copied them, send them some images. I'm saying, put these on the back of an iPhone case. How much per case? Like, landed in Melbourne. And then it ended up being, I think, like $3 a case or something. And I ordered like 200 or 300 of them. iPhone 5, iPhone 6 or 4 and 5, whatever it was back then. So I ordered all these cases and then just listed them on eBay. And back then you had buy now and you could do optimizations, all that stuff. I don't know what it's like anymore, but yeah, it just started getting traffic. And I started selling, like 1 a day, then 2 a day, then 8 a day, 5, 8, 10, 12. I think it capped out around 15 a day. And then I had different listings for different iPhone cases and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually, like, it got hit with copyright, which just totally makes sense. But man, it was so much fun packing these just in my room. I probably got a photo somewhere. All these things like in a box in my room. I just put them into satchels. I'd buy satchels off eBay for like 10 cents a thing, close it, put a stamp on it, off it goes. I even had people coming to my house picking it up. My parents thought I was like dealing drugs or something. Like, I was like these little satchels of things, handing them out, and the little Despicable Me iPhone cases. They'd be giving me like $15 cash. It was just like, it was such a hustle, and I just wanted to make money, and it was a cool way of doing it. No. So I did that, and then I started a mobile app called Meggle, helping people get into nightclubs and bars around Melbourne. We did around 10,000 downloads, and then after that, it just kind of plateaued. I had a business partner from school in that and kind of went our separate ways. I bought him out, and then I started interviewing DJs. So I started interviewing like, chain smokers we had on there. We had like all these like pretty popular DJs, Will Sparks, famous Australian, Tiger Lily, all these kind of different DJs. Turned into a bit of a content platform. Didn't really know what I was doing. And then I ended up somehow on a live, it was called Spreechat, this platform. It's like a live, 2 people can jump on live like we are here, and everyone can tune in and watch, like a Twitch almost, and you can interview people. And Gary Vaynerchuk invested in this company called Spreechat, and I found his YouTube video from Web Summit 2.0 back in the day, and I was a fan, so somehow I got the link. He was doing a Q&A, and this was like, 2012, so he still was not that popular. Like, there were like 50 people on the thing. Long story short, once that happened, I actually clicked, I want to be on screen, because he was picking people to be on screen, and he accepted. So I jumped on there. He was on screen. I was on screen. And I was like, dude, love your shit. Like, this is awesome. Not many people know who you are, but like, I respect your stuff, like your energy, everything like that. I want to ask, what's the next big thing? Like, I've got this app trying to get downloads. We haven't monetized it at all, but like, what's good? And he goes, Facebook dark posts. I'm like, all right, what the hell is that? Like, I had no idea. Fast forward like 5 years, everyone's on Facebook ads, or 8 years, and everyone's still on Facebook ads. So I ended up learning that. I, Googled what's a Facebook ad, how to make money with Facebook ads, dark posts. Back then, the only person really teaching was like John Loomer, I think, like teaching basic Facebook ad stuff. There was no one really talking performance marketing, none of that. This was pre-ClickFunnels, pre all that stuff. I found Russell Brunson through his .com secrets products when ClickFunnels wasn't around. Bought his first book, all that kind of stuff. And then ClickFunnels launched, and I got on that straight away because I was a fan of his. Started using it. I was blogging on my website, Esketzis.com. I did like a review of the tool. And then I was kind of just being like freelancing while I had like a part-time job, stuff like that, how to build funnels. And I was building funnels for all these people because I knew the tool. I learned it, just self-taught it. And then I started teaching people how to doing done for you, like book funnels, webinar funnels, all that kind of stuff, tech stuff. And then I remember the first payment I got through this lady I helped through a Facebook group. I think it was a ClickFunnels Facebook group. Like, I've still got the testimonial. And she came, like, I helped her for free, but then she wired me or PayPal me $250 US, like for like nice. 20 minutes of work. I'm like, whoa, like this is like $250. Like, it took me like a whole day's work at like this solar panel company I was doing social media for to do that. Like, this is crazy. And I was like, all right, well, let me just keep doing this. Kind of build up some clients. I was still blogging, and then I was blogging, like I said, about ClickFunnels, and then Russell and Todd, the 2 founders, reached out and they were like, hey, we want to, boost our content. We've seen you on the tool. We've seen your content. I think it's great. Would you be up for a call? So the next thing I knew, I was just on a Skype call with them. I was like, this is awesome. Like, dude's my idol. Like, love your shit. Finally got face to face. So I was buzzing. I was like, yeah, look, I'm already blogging about it. If you're going to pay me to do it as an official person with ClickFunnels, that sounds awesome. But I go, like, I'm not an employee. Like, I'm a business owner. So I don't want to get trapped in that. what can we figure out here? Because I really want to do it, and I wanted to make that kind of move. I started doing affiliate stuff, so I was doing okay, but I wasn't doing great yet. And then, I was already had the software, and then I started blogging. And then I'm like, well, look, I don't want to be a salaried employee, but I'll be like a contractor, and that's how it can work, whatever. So we figured that out. Next thing I knew, I flew over to Boise, Idaho, first time on my own. And then I booked a trip there, and he flew in Neil Patel for $25K. I think it was, he paid him for the day to come in and consult. So it was me, Neil Patel, who I also was like, this guy's, hugely reputable. And then the founders and some staff. And we just hung out for like the whole day talking about what we should do. And that was awesome. Like, blew my mind. Like, this was the very start within the first 6 months that they launched. Before, like, all the staff that and people now are even there. Like, this was pre all of that. It was just Russell, Todd, and Dylan, who's no longer there. And then that was awesome. We hung out. We just like pretty much worked out of Boise. Like, the first time like in the States properly for work. And then they had a certification thing they were running 3 weeks later. So I just spent a whole month in the States. So then in between, I was like holidaying, traveling all around, went to Miami, went to Vegas, did all the cool stuff, and then circled back to Boise before I went home. And I actually taught some of the certification too. So that was fun. But yeah, so like, long story short, ended up doing that, became an affiliate. And then once I left ClickFunnels, after about a year and a half, I started building my own media sites, content sites, because the biggest thing I noticed is a funnel's great, but it's not an asset you can sell. Like, if you've got a media site, I wanted something that I can actually sell on and sell for a multiple. And you can build your funnels within this brand, and it's actually worth more. So started doing that. I learned a lot of SEO. So I really pushed SEO as the traffic source alongside paid stuff. And then beyond that, it was just, I started doing affiliate marketing through a health site. So it was in the health niche. And that grew really, really well. So I started from brand new website on like a $10 domain. Within 10 months, I think we started doing over 1 million visitors a month. Insane. Yeah. So we started doing like, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 unique visitors a day, which was crazy. And we monetized that just through, display ads. And I had to learn how that whole space worked. I learned SEO and backlinks and content and outreach. And we built like a team of 30 people in the Philippines doing outreach and link acquisition. So, and that kept growing all the way up to, 4 or 5 million people a month. And then we got hit with a Google penalty, and then we had other sites as well. Like, so it's been up and down. And then, obviously we went wider with more portfolio of sites. So now when we weren't all our eggs in one basket, but it was great. So, and I still do a lot of that. And then not too long after that, probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I launched my events company here in Australia, or in Australia. I'm in Phoenix right now, but in Australia. And that was awesome, just running meetups for about a year to see if there was interest, because there's no conferences out there. And then after that, launched a conference called Digital Marketers Australia earlier this year in February. And we sold it out a month and a half before the event, 500 people in Melbourne. And now next February, we're going to be running it for 1,000 people, double the size, twice as big. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's now kind of become more of a main project, which was out of more of like a passion thing, I guess, a side business. And now it's starting to grow to the level that's requiring more attention. And I've still got, luckily, a great team that can manage all the media sites, and I'm still doing affiliate marketing as well. So we're actually also now launching an e-commerce company, which is coming soon too. So it literally very spread, but it's all digital marketing related. So it's not too far from the tree.
Yeah, awesome. So look, I think that's why I kind of call you the marketer's marketer, because you're not out there kind of teaching, coaching coaches to coach.
I hate that.
Yeah, me too, man. So it's good to see that you're actually doing stuff within niches and taking like a product or a service or a website and just taking it, running with it, and just growing it. So, man, I think some of the stuff that you're doing is so good to see, because it's practical. It's what small business owners should be doing as well. So obviously the people listening or watching this podcast are mostly small business owners, potentially some in the agency space, hopefully not too many. But I think it's really such a good platform and valid action that you're taking to grow these separate little businesses, which you kind of all align and join together. So
yeah, I mean, like, it's the same marketing for all of it. At the end of the day, marketing is like, it comes down to three things. It comes down to a good offer, good copywriting, and good creative. If you can bring those good creative and copy, good targeting, so targeting the right person, and a good offer. So if you can bring those three things together, like, it doesn't matter if you're selling agency retainers, or it doesn't matter if you're selling, skincare or apples, whatever it is. Like, if you get the right offer in front of the right person, with the right copy or creative, then you'll crush it. It doesn't need to be so complex, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of people out there selling 20-step funnels, and I honestly don't think most businesses even need that kind of stuff. It's just like the right message to the right person wins every single time. The fundamentals and the foundations is so much more powerful than all this tricky stuff that people are coming up with and trying to do. That stuff is kind of fly by night, which is why I think some of the stuff you're doing is really cool, because it's long lasting. Like the content that you're doing, it's going to be there next week, next month, next year. And it's always going to drive new traffic towards the content, because if it's good content, right, people are always going to be searching for that kind of information.
Yeah.
So let's dive into that a little bit, because I think you're an expert in the content space. I think all the other stuff that you do, you're really great at as well. But the way I see what you do is the number one thing you're a killer at and just so good at is content. So talk me through like your process in terms of thinking about what type of content to do. Like, are there any types that you like to publish, stuff that you've seen working versus not working? Let's go into that if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one thing to know is like, it's funny you think I'm a content guy, but I'm like literally not a content guy. Like I don't write a piece of content. So it's all outsourced. So the way I see myself is like, I'm a CEO. I know and understand marketing, and I outsource it to the right people that are better than me at that, or, that can do it. So, I make money and I can pay them. That's just how I want to work. I don't want to be the person in the trenches writing copy. I know how it works. I go to events, I get trained. Like I know how it works if I need to do it. So I know what's good and bad copy, what's a good ad, bad ad, what the platforms are doing. Like I just want to be at the top of my game overall across everything, marketing, finances, HR, the whole lot, and then bring the right people in and leverage their knowledge, So even like what I'm doing with these media sites, I don't know a thing about health. You can see like, I'm healthy, but I'm not like a fitness guru, right? I'm not like, even with marketing at the same time, like I'm not the number one sales funnel person in the world, but at the same time, if I can get the right person in the right spot. So for our media sites, I'm really good at creating systems. That's one of my strengths is, saying, all right, well, what does it take to rank on Google? And then we reverse engineer that. So we say, all right, for us, when we launched our health site, it was long form copy worked really well. So 3,000 words or more. It was finding the right keywords. So we had a process for keyword research. It was making sure that the headlines, the subheadlines that you use hit certain topics, like what is apple juice and cider, apple cider vinegar or whatever it was, what's lemon water, what are the benefits, what are the risks? And we had certain like formats for that. And then we would go through and say, all right, well, how do we find that content? So you go look at competitors, you look at what's out there and you improve it. So we documented all those things and then turned that into a script that anyone can follow. So kind of like how McDonald's, you bring anyone into Macca's and you can work at McDonald's, the business runs the same. That's how I wanted to bring with my content, like factory. If I can bring any person in from the Philippines, from America, from Australia, whatever, just plug them in. Here's the documentation, follow this. I don't need you to do anything, but follow this. And then I compartmentalize the actual process as well. So everyone's replaceable. Obviously some people are more valuable than others, but at the same time is my entire company, aside from 2 people, are remote. And then the other 2 are just in Melbourne that work, part-time. And then everyone can just come and go. So if I find that someone starts slacking off, or like, right now we want the best people to work with us, but at the same time, like if you're not going to perform, then we're going to find somewhere else. And we've got a great team, we do bonuses and we have, great, like everyone's on Slack. We have a great culture. But I think one thing that people lack, it doesn't matter if you've got an agency or funnels, it applies to everything. Like you want to just have systems and compartmentalize every aspect of that business. Are you the media buyer? Okay. How do you buy media? Like, let's document that. So there's a training. And then anyone that comes in who's brand new, even if they're green to media buying, then they just say, all right, this is it. Like, for example, one of our friends, mutual friends, Dimitri was talking about this recently. Like he's been talking a lot about how he builds his team in, his e-commerce Facebook ad agency. Lead media buyer, junior media buyer, whatever, you document that. So that way you bring the right person in. If they're not a good fit or they don't perform, then take them out. I think a lot of people get stuck on, they want to be the person that does everything, or they want to be the guru or whatever. But like for me, I found success through just bringing content writers in that know content really well, bringing an editor in that's a good editor, bringing a publishing person that can syndicate everything. And then we just consistently do that. The hard part is being consistent for me anyway. It's like you do it once, you improve on it, you document it. But then like our outreach that we did to do link acquisition for our health website, we started with like two interns in an office in Collingwood in Melbourne. And I remember it because I took a photo of it, like, you guys are crushing it. We finally got this. And then we improved on that. We worked out what needed to happen. We automated it. We built software to automate that. And it got us all the way from sending 10 emails a week to 10,000 emails a day, which is insane. Like, so that at our peak, that's what we were doing. And then, lots of things changed, and now we do a bit less than that. But it's just like, you've got to document and structure everything. And that's, I think, the key to growing and being consistent is content's a long-term game. So if you're not consistent and you don't systemize it, you're going to be like, oh, I got to write this article. Like, oh, what am I going to think of? What content can I do next week? What's the topic going to be? What's the, I don't want to be there writing. Like, I'm the same. I hate writing. Like, it's just not my thing, but I know the value. So we'll get people that can do it and we'll invest in it. The hard part is, like, it costs money to do that. So if you don't have that money up front, then you can't do it. So for me, I was fortunate enough to, I did well with affiliate marketing before that. I did well freelancing and got like a decent bunch of money in. So I leveraged that to now put into my next business. If you don't have that money, then you got to invest your time, which is you doing it all, and it's kind of, that's how I've gone from business to business. Is we had like my first one, which was like the affiliate stuff and working with ClickFunnels. And then from that started building my own sites. And then from that, now the events company. But you can't build like an events company, when you got to put a deposit down for 6 figures for an event, like that's cash up front. You can't do that if you're going to be, you don't have money in the bank. Like, it just doesn't work. And then you got advertising costs and whatever. So you just got to be smart. I think, like, look at it kind of like an investor or like a CEO, rather than like, what's the next tactic? Like, oh, it's the messenger bots. Oh, it's like freaking, funnel hacking everyone back to front. Like, oh my God. Like, it's just a business, right? I don't know. I think it's like people complicate it a lot.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that message too, because that's so true. Like, even an example for ourselves, right? Like, I love copy. I love writing copy. It's what I built the business on. It's our fundamentals. But at the same time, like, I've got a business to run for myself, and I've got to think about strategy for clients. If I'm going into the copy, I'm not thinking about strategy in terms of clients, like different angles. So then they're not, even though I'm the one who would be doing it, they're not getting 100% of the results that they could be getting if I stepped out and actually ran the business. So I think it's such an important point. And the other point that you brought up, which I thought was quite interesting too, was the dynamic of money versus time. Because a lot of people come on and they're like, oh, I can get you this result with no money or no advertising, no cost. But the flip side of that is there is actually an intrinsic cost, because it's your time. It's a time that you can be spending doing other stuff that you have to put a value behind, and you're wasting it doing things that you aren't the best at. So it's a really interesting point. Let's dive into that a little bit deeper, because I know you've built a really big team in the Philippines, and you've got like a massive content engine which just runs every single day. You've built like I would call it a really big lifestyle business in terms of, you can go traveling, all that kind of stuff, but you're so good at the system side that the business, it doesn't have to be like, 10 grand a month and that's it. You've built big businesses. So in terms of the hiring, so, let's just say a small business owner is listening to this. They're going, okay, cool. I get it. I need to do content. It is a long-term game. I don't have the time to do content because I'm trying to keep everything else running. What's the place, or what's the play that they should be making? Would you look at the Philippines? Like, how would you make that transition?
Look, this was something that I remember speaking to Nathan Chan about at Founder. He goes, we grow lean and we grow fast. And I love that. It's because, like, trim the fat around the edges of your business and grow fast. Like, be aggressive with your growth. Now I've got the same mentality. So, don't waste money on stupid shit. Like, focus on shit that's going to ROI in your business and get you a result. Like, be lean. The same with everything. That's why we chose Philippines, because salaries there, people work really hard and the salaries are super low. We started there and then we've expanded from there, like project manager and things like that. Like, we've engaged Australian employees now as of social media and things like that, but it wasn't the case early on. So for your content, what I would recommend is find a writer, obviously, for your topic, whatever your business is, someone knowledgeable. You've got to make sure the content's good. Every dollar you invest in writers means you can invest less in editing. So if your content's average, then it's going to need more editing. If it's really good, then you save more money there. So we've got content, a 2,000 word article at about less than $100, just to give you a ballpark, in the Philippines. So, and the content's really good. And now because we give them a really good brief, they know exactly what to do. Took a while to get there. And that's Australian, that's not even US. So like, it's pretty decent. And then like our writers that have been with us forever, they work like full time doing content. And then from there we have editors as well. And if you've got the budget for it, get someone to edit it. It's always good having a fresh pair of eyes. And then we have another person who goes and publishes it on the website and syndicates it through Facebook and social media and whatnot. So that's kind of our process. It's pretty simple. And then we'll have someone who's assigning all the topics to our writers. So someone that's going to do the research and say, all right, these are your topics for the week. This is how long, this is the topics, whatever, off you go. So it's kind of like 3 or 4 steps of that process. You know, before, when I started, I was doing all the assigning of the topics. And then, you know, I never did the writing because I always had a writer, but I was doing the editing, and then we brought the editor in. So you kind of take yourself out of certain parts as you grow. And then, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the process in terms of content. So even if you're a small business, doesn't matter if you're a laundromat or you're doing a digital site like we are, because all of our stuff's digital. We don't do anything in physical places. I like it because it allows me to travel. Like you said, like I want an element of that to be a lifestyle business, because being a young guy that, you know, just wants to travel, I want to be able to see the world and do stuff while my business continues to run. So I like that aspect of it. And now that's why we're going into e-commerce as well. So, you know, I'm kind of building the same systems into an e-com business now, so we can say, all right, well, what needs to happen for e-com? We've got our paid media strategy, SEO, and, you know, fulfillment companies now as well. So I don't actually need to see the product. You know, maybe we check it, make sure it's good. But aside from that, there's not that much involved with me physically being there, and I can still run a business like that remotely. So that's kind of the next layer of, we're going to mix that in, turn into like a hybrid brand with our website. But yeah, now obviously the events company is a physical, and that runs once a year, and we're going to launch some new stuff for that. But yeah, that's in terms of systems for content. That's where I would start. Just find a writer that really knows your topics, not so much brand. Like, you don't want to be promotional in your content. You want to be content driven. We only publish evergreen content. So we never do like news things that are coming out. So I want something that's going to be there for a long time to come. So something keyword driven, that if you're looking, you know, how do I get my cold emails read, whatever it is, then that's going to be there forever. I don't want to be doing like, you know, Kim Kardashian's dress at the Logies or whatever it was at the Arias. So like, you know, no one's searching for that, and it'll get clicks straight away, but it doesn't make sense to do that long term. So once you get really big, you can do that to your existing readers. But yeah, that's kind of where I would go, is evergreen content.
Yeah, perfect. So last question on content, because I'm really interested in the event space as well, and talking to you about that. Yeah. But in terms of the content, so for me anyway, my viewpoints are that, especially as the market or more businesses come into the market and start getting on top of online marketing, digital marketing, content is one thing that's going to really distinguish the best companies or the best businesses from the competitors. But in terms of the results, how long do you think it normally takes to see results from content marketing? I know it's a weird question. It's like,
no, definitely. I mean, it depends how aggressive you are. So I would say typically 3 to 4 months is the lag on SEO in terms of getting visitors for your content. Very dependent on link building is a huge part of content, getting people seen on. Like, when I'm talking link building, it's people linking to your website and then rising it up the ranks in your SEO. That's how we get our traffic. Like, it's focused 90% on that. It all was. And then that's, if you're doing content marketing, that's the only reason you would put out content, unless you want to send it to your existing clients, is to attract new people. But you got to wonder, you know, like, putting content out is great, but if there's no one there, then it's useless. So to get eyes on there, you got to have a link building budget, like people that can link to your website, and you've got to have a content budget. Content's only so good on its own. Links are only so good on their own. You got to have both. Most people struggle at the link building, funnily enough, more than the content. Content's pretty easy. They know what their people want, but getting people to link to them is the hard part. That's what I found anyway. And then once we systemized that, we saw huge growth. But in terms of what you should do, like, I think 2 to 3 months, you start seeing some changes. 3 to 4 months, we start seeing the content really start rising and getting traffic if we've built links to that piece of that article, and we start seeing some real results.
Yeah, perfect. I'm just about to experiment with a strategy for ourselves where we do, like you were saying, a long form piece of content, really good content, evergreen, and we're going to drive some Facebook traffic towards that content as well.
You've got a traffic though. That's the thing. It's either paid or organic, and we went organic. But if you're doing paid, then at least you're getting new eyeballs to it.
Yeah, and then obviously there's a retargeting on the back end of it with offers and stuff like that. But I think we'll dive into that. That's going to take a little bit of testing, and obviously. Yeah, it'll be another story. So let's talk about DMA, because it's a great event. I went last year. I had an absolute blast. I think Australia is really spoilt for marketing talent. And the problem that we had in the past was we had to go to the US to get same conferences, same kind of people. But talk to me about, what's happening with DMA, like why you decided to start it, some of the topics that's covered.
Yeah, absolutely. So exactly that reason. Like, I was going there. I remember one year, I was like 19 or 20, and I went over to TNC, Funnel Hacking Live, Marketing Funnel Automation by Todd Brown, a few other smaller events like content and commerce. Like there was like 10 events I think I went there for 10 times or 8 to 10 times in 1 year, return flights from Melbourne to Los Angeles and then across the US. Adds up in cost, adds up in time, adds up in stress. I had to take time away, like all this stuff, because all the talent was there. And that's where I had to learn it and network with people. And that's how I've made so many friends out here in the US. But I was like, there's got to be a way. Like we've got talented people, and you'd only see maybe like at a big event with 3,000 people, you'd see maybe 5 to 10 Aussies. And those people like I would never have heard of. So those like events are really the only places to share content strategy and talent and marketing goodness. Whereas now, like, I was like, there's got to be something here. So I wanted to test the market. I ran free meetup events in Melbourne. Struggled at the beginning. Like our first event, we saw 50 people. Second event, we saw like 12 or 15, 20 people, not much. I'm like, crap, this is going to go downhill. And then after that, it just kind of kept building, and we got to like 30, then 50, then 70. And then we started seeing like 100 to 120 people come to these free events. I'm like, damn, like there is a market, you know, there's people that are interested in learning, and these were just business owners, never heard from them. We had it's still on Meetup. If you go to meetup.com, Digital Marketers Australia. And then we did them in Sydney as well, which you actually spoke on our first ones in Sydney too, which was awesome. And then like we merged with Growth Hackers Australia as well. So now we run events with like Growth Hackers Australia in Sydney. So it's just been like this growth. And then after 12 months of that, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to do a conference, and what's the worst thing that can happen? It goes down in flames, but I did it more of like, I just want to be around other marketers and put on a really good event. It's not about the money, because frankly, we didn't make, I think we like broke even or thereabouts, and I was like, I just want to put on a really good event. I want to see, can we get that many people in one room? So like, I was like 500 people, like it's a good goal to have. We started marketing. Problem with events is they don't fill up until the very last minute. Like I'm talking 2-3 weeks before the event.
It's stressful.
It's so stressful. And we were paying for ads, we're doing everything. And I'm like, no, there's no way we're going to do this. And then in 1 week, I think it was about 6 weeks before the event or 8 weeks before the event, we sold more tickets in that 1 week than the last 2 months. It was crazy. Wow. And I was like, it's just insane. Like the way it works, the intermittent business. It's like super stressful. I get why no one's done events, because like, they're terrible business models. But I really wanted to do it. So I was like, I don't want it to be a pitch fest. I don't want every speaker to be pitching some slimy bullshit. Like I've been to so many of those events in Australia, because that's all there is. It's like, oh, hey, like, have you heard about drop shipping? All right, run to the room. Everyone put your hands up, run to the room. Like, buy my course. I'm like, I felt like just some slime ball on stage.
Five minutes of content and literally 45 minutes of just the shittiest pitching. Like, yeah.
And it's not even good content. Like I can respect a good marketer that's delivering something new and, it's being good, but like, and there's people that do that, but I was just like, that's not what I want. I don't want to be pitched 15 times in 24 hours. Like, that's just not what I want. I get you got to make money from an event. But that's how events are. So yeah, I made sure that like our event was going to be 2 full days, no pitching, nothing like that. And it was great. We had like, you spoke, and we had a whole bunch of other speakers. We had like 2 networking evenings as well at bars. So people could hang out, network, drink, just kick back. And then now next year, we're doing it all again. So we're doubling the size of it. We're going to have 1,000 people. We're going to have a big nightclub booked as well for the second night. So we're going to have a huge, like biggest digital marketing party you've ever seen. We've got like over 30 speakers now. We've got another room, a breakout room happening too. We just announced Naomi Simpson speaking. So the shark from Australia Shark Tank, Red Balloon. So she's amazing. She's going to be there as well. Yeah, it's going to be an awesome event. So it's February 12th to 14th, 2020. So that's going to happen then. But yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to be covering everything from SEO. So it's like full spectrum of marketing. So everything from e-commerce to paid marketing to organic marketing to B2B LinkedIn, Instagram influencers. So we're covering the whole spectrum across 3 full days, and it's going to be fun. So it's good. We even had some feedback from this year, and we're going to roll it out into next year. It's going to be really good. I'm really looking forward to it. And honestly, like, I think that if we don't put in a good event, no one's going to come back. So
exactly.
That's the thing with events. Like word travels fast, and there's other events out there that aren't good. Like, some of these slimy pitchy ones and a whole bunch of other events. And I'm like, you're not going to get people coming back, and it's going to be embarrassing when you have an empty room. So fingers crossed that we've got people coming back. But yeah, the reason it all started was just to put on a great event. That was still the goal. Now it's turned into a business itself. But if you come, it's not going to be pitching after every single speaker. We'll probably make one offer, which is going to be really cool, actually. So you have to come and check that out. But we've got sponsors there. So, there's going to be like over 20 sponsors, booths, We're in a hotel now as well, so we've pretty much booked out the whole hotel. Bars, there's lunches, like it's going to be like a takeover pretty much. Everyone's going to be there. Like that's the best part, is just hanging out with everyone, at the bar or afterwards or just in the breaks, and just seeing people's faces light up when they learn something new. I don't know. How did you find the event that was this year?
I think the thing that I get from most events, right, is the networking. It's not even the content, but the thing that really impressed me about the stuff you guys did was the diversity of speakers you had on. Like, and you actually could learn something, which is, for me, really surprising, because normally at events, I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but I'm kind of just playing on my phone while people are speaking, because it's all very high level, basic theory stuff that people are sharing.
Level content, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But at this event, I was like, God damn, like these people are sharing some legit stuff I can implement to my own business. And just the networking was amazing as well. So it was awesome. Hey, let me just ask you quickly about the marketing behind the event too, because for me, we've recently done had a couple of clients come on, which we helped, to market their events, and not the scale of what you're doing, but events are just difficult. Like they're really, really hard to market. What's your marketing mix? Like, how are you promoting the event itself?
So like that was a big challenge for me, because I've never marketed an event before. So I leaned on, like, I'm in the mastermind that digital marketer runs called War Room, and I'm really good friends with Ryan and their team. And they ran TNC with like 5,000 and now like 10,000 people or something.
10,000. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I leaned on them for advice, and like all my friends who were in events, and we tried everything. We tried LinkedIn ads, we tried Facebook, tried Google, tried YouTube, tried freaking everything. And what I learned is you've got to hit it from all angles to fill an event. We're harder than most events because we're a high ticket event. Like not high ticket, but like it's
paid. Yeah.
To start at like $497 on the super early bird, and they're going to go all the way up to like a couple of thousand at the door. And then just before the event, I think it's like, what's that? $897. So like for one ticket, and if people are buying a couple, you're spending a couple $1,000s for, a group of tickets. So it's not super cheap. So it takes a big commitment for someone to actually reserve that. The biggest thing as well was for us, people are flying out a lot of the time. So probably half the attendees or something like that flew out from interstate. So they've got to book accommodation. You got to invest in that. You're spending a lot of time. It's a big investment of time and money to be there, which is a lot of pressure as well, because you're like, crap, this thing's going ahead now. Like that's it. But it was just awesome. So strategy wise, like Facebook worked really well. So we, regular retargeting, all the interest-based retargeting. We started doing a lot of YouTube, which worked really well. YouTube was massively underutilized. I'm going to be doing a lot more for this year. And then Google as well. We partnered with another agency to manage all our Google stuff, because I'm not a big Google person. And then they helped us with that in YouTube, because they kind of go hand in hand. So Google Display Network, Google AdWords. And then we tried some LinkedIn stuff as well, which did okay. And then we kind of got hit with LinkedIn, because we did some automating bits and pieces.
That was a funny story behind that, but we won't go into it.
Yeah, LinkedIn was, because we thought the tools that we were using, they said they were fine, but apparently not. So we were just like, all right, we'll just kind of just let that go. It wasn't super, super amazing anyway.
No, look, I think you guys did a really good job, but I think the scale of what you did in the speed that you did it, that was the issue.
Probably raised some red flags, because we only had so long before the event. So we're like, all right, we're going to push it to them. And LinkedIn clearly didn't like that. So you probably know a lot better ways to handle things like this, but yeah, we'll see how we go. I mean, it's great because we've got people there on LinkedIn, people are doing things, but I think the main one for us, honestly, was Google and Facebook. And social media organically as well. Like we were just creating content in Instagram stories and Instagram itself, just people who already knew us or had heard of us. It's good to have really organic content. So that was all we've done really. Nothing super groundbreaking. It's just, again, being consistent, testing things. I'm a massive believer in lots of creatives. So if you go to our website, digitalmarketersaustralia.com, you'll start seeing the different creatives we have on Facebook ads that we're running and retargeting, Google as well. I hate seeing like boring, crappy ads. Like it just kills me. So we've gone the extra mile to have like animations. We've got like speakers and photos and all that kind of stuff, because it makes a difference. When you're creating an experience for someone, you want to show them what that's like. You don't want to say, oh, like come to this event. It's like some boring freaking hotel, like seminar room. Like that's boring. Like that's not what our event is. So we want to show the experience that. So everything from our videos, we completely redesigned our website. Everything is like, you feel it and it's like, wow, like we want to create that wow factor of what it's like to actually be there. So I think with an event, it's important to really give them that wow factor from all angles, because that's what's going to turn someone into a customer. And like, it's a big investment of time and money, and you can't get them over that line unless they feel that, all right, you know what, I could actually get something out of that. I actually think that this event's worth attending and, worth spending money on. So yeah, that was a big thing for us, but that's kind of what worked. Email marketing a little bit as well. I'm probably the worst email marketer that ever lived. Like, I hate sending them, I hate writing them, but email marketing works as well. That's kind of it. I don't know. Have you found anything that works particularly well with your clients?
With events, I mean, our events that we marketed were a little bit different. They're a very B2B focused, very niched event. So we did, LinkedIn stuff, not the scale that you did, but also cold emails. That works really well. And some of the stuff that we did, some of the industry is a little bit old school. So we tried like radio, mail drops worked well. We tried radio ads. Not sure about the numbers behind it. Like the old school media, TV and radio, it's always hard to track the exact return. So that kind of stuff worked quite well, but I think mostly just direct outreach. I mean, that's kind of why we
cold email worked. Cold email worked quite well for you.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So that really works. Cold email, yeah, like that's probably another one we should probably look at. At least just getting the word out. Yeah.
So, yeah, awesome. So, just before we wrap this up, man, there's a question I ask everyone who jumps on here, and it's what question should I have asked you, but I haven't asked you yet?
Oh, that's a good question. Look,
from Tim Ferriss, man.
The question is, all right, yes, I am single. So you haven't asked me that one yet, but I don't know. That's probably not the question you were thinking. I mean, it might have been, I don't know. But the question that you should have asked and that you haven't asked me yet, that's a good one. Just put me on the spot here. I think that, all right, how about this? So the question you should have asked me is that, like, what do I love doing outside of marketing? What are some other passions I have? So maybe that's a decent one. So yep. I'm an avid traveler, so I like travel hacking as well. So I love I love growth hacking and travel hacking. So finding nifty ways to get like business class upgrades and like staying at cool hotels and things like that. So if you're into that, hit me up. We can nerd out about that. Massive tennis player as well. Play like 4 times a week. Love going to the Australian Open, following all that kind of stuff. And just, networking, catching up with people in general. Like, I'm a social person, so I think that's why events work well for me too. It's like, I'm just hanging out with people, meeting people. That's why traveling is really fun. So I think a mixture of all that, is good partnership with the marketing industry. And that's kind of why I like it so much, because everyone's so cool outside of business as well. And you can partner with someone to make a huge business. The opportunities are endless. And I think that's another really big thing with events is, if I look back and if I didn't go to any events, I would not be where I am today. Like, flat out. Like, I would not have known the same people. I would not have had the same business experience, life experience. Like, it's because of events and conferences and putting myself out there when I knew nobody, that now I know so many people. And like, it's just such an awesome family to have around the world and in Australia or wherever, that you can just be like, man, like it's like they become your friends as well. All these people, you might meet someone at an event or a conference, or you'll travel with, and you just be like, all right, well, let's go grab dinner and let's just hang out, or let's go do something fun. Like, I've been to an event in Vegas and we raced like supercars, and we've been like shooting guns and like a range, like stuff like that. Like this, it's almost like you find a new set of friends in your industry, and the marketing industry and the, business owners, like, it's so cool. And I think people undervalue that. Like, yourself and myself, like, we met probably through an event or through a mutual friend or something like that went to an event. It's just totally different. It brings the whole online experience offline, and it's totally different to anything I think you've done if you've never been there before, if you don't do it much. So yeah, I think like just being social, being cool outside of that. But yeah, hopefully, I don't know if that's a decent question, but
yeah, no, it's good.
That's it.
Awesome. And finally, if people want to find out more about the event coming up, DMA, they want to reach out to you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, just go to digitalmarketersaustralia.com. no.au, or I might redirect, I can't remember, but .com. And then that's the event, February 12th to 14th. You can hit me up on Facebook, Stephen ESK. Don't ask why my full name Esketzis isn't there. I got into a few copyright issues back in the day on Facebook, so hopefully they're cool about it. I might change it back, we'll see. But that's that. So feel free to come hit me up on Facebook and come down to the event and meet me in person. It'd be awesome to hang out at the conference, and you're going to be there. There's going to be a whole bunch of other people there. If you're coming on your own, let me know. I'll introduce you to a whole bunch of people as well.
Yeah, we'll hang out for sure.
There's so many people you can hang out with there, And it's funny, like I've got hanging out here with a friend in Phoenix, and he doesn't drink, doesn't go out. He's a very mellow type of person. And I met him at a conference, and we were just geeking out over some Instagram stuff 5 years ago. And all of a sudden, him and his wife, like we're friends with, and we're going out, and like that's why I'm out here in Phoenix to catch up with them. Like, one thing leads to another, and you could be best friends with somebody. So funnily enough, actually, one more story I'm going to share is I was at an event 2 years ago, and then my friend was next to me, and he liked this girl that was sitting on the other side of me. So I introduced them, and now they've been like together for like 4 or 5 years. So like you might find the love of your life at DMA.
If you're looking for love, come to the DMA.
I will wrap it up there.
Awesome. All right, dude, look, thanks so much for coming on. The stuff that you do in terms of your marketing for your assets and your websites and DMA as well, I think it's really great because you're not, working inside the marketing industry in the echo chamber. So it's great to get someone on who's actually doing really, really great, world-class marketing for things outside of the industry. So, mate, as always, it's always good to have a chat with you. I think this is more PG than we're normally used to, but great to have you on. And for anyone listening, if you enjoyed this episode, please do subscribe and give me a rating. Let me know what you want to see more of, whatever platform it's on, whether it's YouTube or iTunes or one of the other podcast services. Thanks again for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed listening to this chat as much as I have having the chat with Stephen, and we'll catch you all on the next episode.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.